So right now I'm looking at a bilateral meniscus repair. So welcome to the channel, Pickled Knees. This is my first video documenting knee injuries, knee surgery, recovery. My name's Chad. I live in southern Utah. If you're like me and going through any kind of knee issues, knee pain, knee surgery, you know that it's a major bummer. And all you want to do is you want to educate yourself as much as possible. Should I have surgery? Should I not have surgery? All these looming questions that are probably in your mind. I know they're in my mind. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it all out there, hopefully connect with some of you guys in the comments, see if it's something that, we can help each other out with. I know there's people out there just like me right now that are going through a knee injury, trying to figure out what the right path is for them. And although there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer or the same path for everybody, because everybody's injury is different, everybody's situation is different, and everybody's goals are different, right? What you're really trying to get back into. But I think that I can give my story and kind of where I'm at in my life, and maybe you're in a similar spot, and maybe we can go through it together. Okay, quick backstory on me and who I am. Always been involved in sports my whole life, been very athletic, and fortunately never had any major injuries, never had any surgeries, anything like that. I think I broke a wrist when I was in middle school, but nothing major, right? Very, very lucky. So fast forward 41 years old, I moved to southern Utah, St. George, and I meet the second love of my life outside of my family, and it's pickleball. I love pickleball, like love pickleball. I'm addicted to it. Not afraid to say that. I think it's awesome. I think it's competitive. I think it's very social. And before you be a hater on pickleball, there's a lot of different levels of pickleball, right? There's recreational, there's competitive. I'm extremely competitive, and I take everything probably a little too far. And that's what happened in pickleball. So fast forward now, I'm 41 years old. I have my first knee injury. I pivot on my knee, I go backwards, forwards. My knee kind of twists like that, and two pops in my knee. I went down immediately. I knew something was wrong. Never popped my knee in my life. Went down. Um, I ended up getting up and I ended up walking off and hobbling out of there. I didn't have to get carried off or wasn't in a wheelchair or like anything like that. It wasn't really, I don't want to say it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. And took it easy for a few days, but I was walking and I was kind of fine. I was like, okay, like, something's wrong, but I don't know what's going on. So I kind of let a couple weeks go by. I was getting worse, right? Nothing was getting better. So I was like, shoot, something's up here. Decided to go get an MRI. What was happening? I couldn't bend my knee fully, couldn't straighten my knee when I was sleeping at night. I had to literally be in the exact, like, perfect situation, or my knee would bother me. If you've ever had this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like constantly trying to get your knee in that perfect spot. Get an MRI on my knee. I find out I have a minor tear in my medial meniscus. That's on the inside part of my knee, on the inner part of your leg. Minor tear. Doctor says, okay, you have a few options. And I'm like, okay, I just want one option. That's the right option. Give me a few options. First option is I could try nothing. I could wait a year. He didn't say a timeline, but I could wait it out. Maybe it has a way of figuring itself out. Maybe it's not too bad. Second option is I could get injections. I could do a PRP. I could do stem cells, something like that, where I'd be throwing money at it without really any guaranteed results. So I was kind of not super into that idea. I like the idea of kind of figuring it out, but I didn't want to spend money on something I wasn't ultra confident in. And then the third option was surgery, which is the scary one. And my first thought was like, no way, like I can't have knee surgery. Like I'm not like I can't have knee surgery, right? So we kind of keep talking about it and like, look, the meniscus, there's not a great blood supply. So healing is very, very slow, if ever. And granted, every body is different. So, take this with a grain of salt. I can't say yours is going to heal or not going to heal. All I wanted to do is I wanted to get back to where I was and I wanted to get back healthy again. So when I'm looking at those three options of waiting it out, doing injections, doing surgery was like, okay, well, the next question is, so what's the rehab? What's the recovery like? Well, on something like yours, we're going to do an arthroscopic surgery to where they're going in, it's a same day procedure. All you're really doing is you're trimming that torn cartilage and then you can put weight on it right away. You can stand up. You can actually walk out of the hospital, which I thought was crazy, but um, you can walk out of the hospital, and you're looking at a 4 to 6 week recovery till you're kind of back to normal per se. I'm not gonna say 100%, but in 4 to 6 weeks, I'm back to playing sports again. I'm like, okay, 4 to 6 weeks, that's not bad. A year, maybe something happens, maybe something doesn't. So my biggest fear is I didn't want to wait a year to not have surgery to only come back and be like, dang, now I gotta have surgery. So where I could have had it a year ago, now I'm already fully recovered. So decided to do the surgery, and it was simple. It was actually pretty easy. I remember going in, got the surgery. I had crutches. I came home on crutches, and I used crutches for maybe like a half a day, maybe a day or two at the most. I remember waking up and asking, like, what did we do? And he just trimmed it. So went home. I was fine. So just kind of in quick summary for that full year, I did not do physical therapy. My doctor advised. He said that he didn't think I needed it. He thought I was young enough, athletic enough, strong enough. I could do my own thing. And I believed him, right? So after I started walking, I started doing everything fairly normal. And the thing that's crazy is I did get back to doing pretty much everything. I was back to playing pickleball, I was back to doing everything. But it was always very modified, very calculated. I never fully healed. And what was happening is I was getting sore after I would play or after I would do some sort of strenuous exercise. So if I played pickleball as an example, I would play, then I'd be sore for a day or two. And then as time went on, I would get more sore. And then, if I were to fast forward one full year, I was playing pickleball and I got to a point where I entered a tournament with my wife here in St. George. And I played all day long. It was a long tournament. Played all day long. And then I literally could not walk or really do anything for about 2 solid weeks after. And so that's when I knew something was wrong, right? So kind of coming full circle with the whole thing here, and the whole reason I'm making this series and documenting this whole process is after that full year, I never really recovered or healed. And I just thought that was just part of like having knee surgery. Like you're just always going to have a bad knee. And maybe that is the case. I kind of am managing my expectations to be that. And so I decided to get an MRI. But the crazy thing is now my good knee, my left knee, started feeling like my right knee because I was favoring it so much. And so I'm like, gosh, this is not good. I feel like both of them are bad. So I'm going to get MRIs on both knees. So start with my right knee. So I get MRIs on both knees. Come back, doctor says, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Your right knee, you now have a complex medial tear. And I'm worse. It's torn worse than it was before my first surgery. So the bummer thing is I didn't have another injury. I didn't have any kind of popping injury. But I think I just played so hard on it for a full year that it just kind of retore itself. It was either that or something was missed in the surgery. Maybe they didn't trim it fully. I don't know. But at this point, that part's out of my control. So I'm just kind of moving forward. My left knee MRI also showed the same thing. I have a tear in my medial and the inner part of my left meniscus as well. So now I'm with two torn meniscuses. I can still function now. I'm still going to the gym every day. I can still do most of my daily activities. I cannot explode on my knees. And again, I'm very, very calculated on what I do. So I can't squat down. I'm not going to do like a hard jump. I know my limits. And what sucks about that is I'm 42 now, and having limits sucks. Let's just be honest. Being limited sucks when you knew what you used to be able to do. And I attribute that to a part of aging. It happens. But I also think that there's more, I have a lot more life, a lot more ahead of me. So overall, where I'm sitting at today is I'm sitting on two torn meniscuses. I switched doctors. I have a new doctor that I really like and seems very, very knowledgeable. And the pathway now is to have surgery on both knees. So right now I'm looking at a bilateral meniscus repair. So this time I'm not going to trim. This time I'm going to repair them. Doctor says I have good cartilage and he doesn't want me to lose that yet. So we're going to go in and we're going to put stitches in both of my knees and we're going to do them at the same time. So that's non-weight bearing And my first thought is like, how am I going to function with zero knees? How can I function with no knees? And I don't want to like, you know, be that guy. There's people way worse off than me. I'm just looking at 4 to 6 weeks non-weight bearing on my knees. Um, but going from, being active on both knees to not being able to be active at all is very scary, right? So right now I have a scheduled surgery for in 1 month, and I've had it scheduled for about a month now. So for about the last month, I've been thinking nonstop about this particular procedure. How am I going to get through it? How am I going to function? How am I going to walk? How am I going to get out of bed? It seems minor, but if you're going through this, you know how big of a deal this is to completely shut off everything. And if I could have one objective in documenting a knee surgery to knee recovery, it's to connect with someone out there that's athletic, that's kind of in a similar situation as me, that's wondering, what does this recovery look like? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Is this the right thing? All these questions you have going in your mind, I have them too. So let's talk about it. Let's get in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling, questions you might have. I don't have all the answers, but I love to go down these rabbit holes of information, of figuring out, what this person did, what they would have done different, what they could have improved on. So that's where this process is starting. In 1 month, bilateral knee surgery is happening. And in what I'm going to do is I'm going to document kind of what I'm doing to prepare up to the surgery. I'm going to document as much as possible as I can of the surgery. I don't think I can be in there recording, but going in, just kind of going through. But the bigger like meat of this whole like process is I want to document what the recovery process looks like, because that's really the big answer. That's the big question on all our minds is, what does this recovery process look like? How long does it take? I'm going to document that. I'm definitely going to physical therapy. I'm going to document that as well, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Maybe you can pick up on some tips. I'm going to document the emotional part of it as well. There's a huge mental battle when it comes to injuries and being sidelined. Another reason why I want to do this is I'm going to be lonely. I'm going to feel like, hey, I'm the only one going through this, but we're not. There's tons of people. Knee surgery is one of the most, arthroscopic knee surgery is one of the most common procedures out there. So you are not alone by like a million. There's tons of people going through the same thing. But again, everybody's situation is different, and we can all learn from each other. So if you watched this far, thank you. This is just the first start of this whole journey. Please join along with me if you want to be kind of learn more about my process, and I want to learn about yours. Drop a like, drop a comment, let me know, what you're going through, and I'm going to comment back to everybody and kind of go through this process together. So thank you, and we'll see you guys in the next video.